Have you ever had that strange feeling that something wasn't quite right around you, but you couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was? As if someone close to you was smiling on the outside, yet deep down, they weren't genuinely happy for you? That unsettling sensation might not just be in your head. Envy could be lurking closer than you think. And the worst part, it might come from someone you'd never expect. Envy is a silent poison. It doesn't announce itself loudly or confront you directly. Instead, it hides behind polite words, insincere compliments, and seemingly harmless gestures that carry a heavy, negative energy. You may have experienced this before without even noticing, like when you share a big achievement, expecting excitement, but instead you sense a subtle discomfort, or when someone tries to downplay your efforts, making it seem like what you've accomplished isn't all that impressive. The problem is that being around envious people can drain your energy before you even realize it. You start feeling demotivated and weighed down, as if something is holding you back, but you cannot quite figure out why. And the worst part is that you might even start questioning yourself, wondering if you are the problem. The truth is that you are not. The envy of others could be silently sabotaging you without your awareness. But do not worry, because today you are going to learn how to spot it. In this video, I will show you 12 undeniable signs that someone envies you even if they try to hide it. You will discover exactly how these behaviors show up in everyday life, and most importantly, how to protect yourself from envious people without unnecessary conflicts. So if you have ever had the feeling that someone around you is not truly rooting for you, stay with me until the end, because this might completely change the way you see certain people in your life. And before we dive in, make sure to subscribe. Here, I bring you content that helps strengthen your mind and shield you from negative influences. Now let us get into the first sign. I bet you have seen this happen more than once. Sign 1. They can't be happy when you win. Have you ever experienced an incredible moment, an achievement that made your heart race with excitement, and you could not wait to share it with someone, only to be met with an odd reaction? Maybe a dull, "Oh, that is nice," with no enthusiasm, or even a comment that deep down seemed to downplay your hard work. This is not a coincidence. Envious people struggle to see you shine because your success makes them feel smaller. It is not that you are trying to overshadow them, but deep inside, they carry a constant sense of frustration. Every victory you achieve acts like a mirror, reflecting what they wish they had accomplished, but did not. Now think about this. Have you ever shared good news, only to have someone immediately change the subject as if what you said didn't matter? Or worse, instead of celebrating with you, they start pointing out problems, making you question whether your achievement is really that great. This is a classic sign of envy. People who genuinely support you will celebrate alongside you. Those who envy you, however, will mask their discomfort with empty responses, abrupt topic changes, or even disguise criticisms, like, "Are you sure this will last? That's cool, but I heard that could come with some problems later on." Well, at least you got lucky, right? Notice how these phrases never carry genuine enthusiasm. There is always a hint of doubt, a subtle way of making you second-guess yourself. And if you are not paying attention, you might start absorbing that negativity, wondering if you truly deserve what you worked so hard for. Now tell me, have you ever had someone react like this to your success? That person who, instead of being happy for you, always finds a way to dim your excitement. Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help others recognize this pattern too. And this is just the beginning. This is one of the most common signs, but the next one is even more toxic. When someone just cannot admire you without turning everything into a competition. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about next. Sign 2. They turn everything into a competition. If there's one thing that truly unsettles an envious person, it's watching someone around them grow and stand out. But instead of being inspired by your achievements or admiring your hard work, they feel an overwhelming need to turn everything into a competition. No matter what you do, they always find a way to claim they've done something bigger, better, or more challenging. If you buy something new, like a phone or a car, they immediately mention that they already own a superior model or that they're about to purchase something even more expensive. If you get a promotion at work, instead of congratulating you, they quickly shift the focus to themselves, boasting about their own raise or how their position comes with even greater perks. Now, the issue is not that they also want to succeed, because that is completely normal. The problem lies in how uncomfortable they feel about your success. They cannot stand the idea of you being in the spotlight because it makes them feel inferior. Their only way to cope is by constantly trying to one-up you in every conversation. And it does not stop there. Some envious people do not just try to outshine your achievements. They go as far as belittling what you do. If you start a new hobby, like playing an instrument or working out, they might say things like, "That's not hard at all. Anyone can do it. Oh, I was way better when I first started. Well, I've already moved on to something more advanced." At first, this constant comparison might seem harmless, but over time, it becomes exhausting. Because deep down, their goal is not to share experiences, it is to minimize yours so their envy stays hidden. And here's the real danger. If you're not careful, you might start doubting yourself, questioning whether you're actually good enough or if your achievements even matter. And that's exactly what they want. But there is an even more damaging sign when envy goes beyond simple competition and turns into something worse, talking behind your back. And that is what we are about to uncover next. Sign 3. They smile in front of you but talk behind your back. Imagine trusting someone, sharing your life, your achievements, even your struggles. This person always seems to be there, listening, offering advice, acting like they genuinely care. But one day, by accident, you discover a completely different side of them. Maybe someone tells you about something they said, something cruel or unfair, or perhaps you start noticing subtle remarks, little hints that make you question if something is off. Slowly, the puzzle pieces start to fit together. This person who appeared to be on your side is actually envious and working behind the scenes to damage your reputation. Envious people do this all the time. They know they cannot confront you openly, so they operate in the shadows, subtly planting doubts about you in other people's minds. They spread rumors, make sarcastic jokes, and drop vague comments that change how others perceive you without you even realizing it. And the worst part, when you finally call them out on it, they never admit it. Instead, they claim it was a misunderstanding, or that people took their words the wrong way. Or even worse, they turn the situation around and accuse you of overreacting, making you question your own judgment. They use phrases like, "Wow, ever since they got that promotion, they've really changed." Feels like they think they're better than everyone else. I like them, but sometimes they try a little too hard, don't you think? I have nothing against them, but honestly, I think people overrate them a little. These comments spread little by little, quietly undermining your credibility. And before you know it, people around you start acting differently, but you have no idea why. Now tell me, have you ever had someone who acted like a friend in front of you but spoke negatively about you behind your back? If so, share your experience in the comments. Your story might help others recognize these hidden patterns. And do you know what's even worse than someone who talks behind your back? The person who pretends to be helping you but is secretly trying to tear you down. This next sign might be even more present in your life than you realize. Sign 4. Their advice always makes you doubt yourself. Not all envy is obvious. Sometimes it comes disguised as concern, advice that sounds well-intentioned but is actually designed to discourage you. Envious people will never openly admit that they don't want to see you succeed. Instead, they subtly plant doubts in your mind, making you question whether you're actually good enough. Their words may seem supportive on the surface, but in reality they slowly chip away at your confidence. For example, if you decide to start a new project or make an important change in your life, this person won't genuinely encourage you. Instead, they'll say things like, "Are you sure that's a good idea? It sounds like way too much work. I just don't want you to get your hopes up too much. Maybe you should think it through a little more." Notice how they never directly say you are not capable, but their tone always carries doubt, making you hesitate. And that is exactly the goal, to make you give up while they still appear to be looking out for you. Another common tactic is pretending to be realistic while subtly undermining your confidence. If you accomplish something meaningful, they might say, "That's great, but are you sure it wasn't just luck? Let's see if you can actually keep it up. Sometimes these things don't last." Well, it wasn't that hard, was it? These little remarks may seem harmless at first, but over time, they take a toll. The more you hear them, the more you start questioning yourself, wondering if you really deserve your success or if you should even keep pushing forward. And that is exactly what they want, to make you doubt yourself while they continue to appear as someone who just wants the best for you. But envy does not stop there. Some people take it even further. They do not just try to discourage you, they start copying everything you do, and that is the next sign you need to be aware of. Sign 5. They imitate you but act like it was their idea. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to imitate everything you do but never acknowledge where they got the idea? At first, it might seem like a coincidence. You change your hairstyle and days later they show up with a similar look. You pick up a new hobby and suddenly they decide to try it too. You share an amazing idea and not long after they are talking about the same thing, acting as if they came up with it on their own. Now, if this were just admiration, it would not be a problem. But when someone copies everything you do while pretending it was their idea all along, envy is at play. These people do not just want to be inspired by you, they want to take your place. Imagine putting in effort to create something new, a project, a unique style, even a way of expressing yourself. Then someone comes along and simply mimics everything you do without ever giving you credit. And the worst part? Sometimes they act as if they did it first. If you point out the similarity, they laugh it off, call it a coincidence, or pretend not to notice. People like this can't stand to see you receive recognition. It bothers them that you have something unique, so their only way to cope is by trying to take that uniqueness for themselves. But here is the thing, no matter how much they copy, they can never surpass you because originality cannot be imitated. Now tell me, have you ever noticed someone copying you without giving you credit? Share your experience in the comments. A lot of people go through this, but do not always recognize it as a hidden sign of envy. And if you thought this behavior was frustrating, wait until you hear what is next. Some envious people do not just copy you, they take things a step further, subtly working against you in ways you might not even notice until it is too late. Let us talk about that now. Sign 6. They block your progress without you realizing it. Envy doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Some people will not openly badmouth you, nor will they attack you directly, but they will find subtle ways to work against you. They will not confront you head-on, but they will quietly place obstacles in your path without you realizing it. This type of person might forget to tell you something important, give you misleading information, or even offer advice that seems helpful but actually sets you back. They do this strategically, making it look like an innocent mistake or just a coincidence, but in reality, it is intentional. If you're about to take a big step forward in life, they might subtly suggest that maybe now isn't the right time. They'll say things like, maybe you should wait a little longer before doing this. I just don't want you to take a risk and regret it later. The goal? To plant doubt, make you hesitate, waste time, and maybe even give up. Another common sign is when they subtly downplay your accomplishments. If you achieve something significant, they might respond with a cold reaction. Or worse, they will dismiss your success as just luck, implying that anyone could have done it. Over time, this chips away at your confidence, making you question yourself without even realizing it. The most dangerous part? You start feeling like something is off. but you can't quite put your finger on what it is. That's because this type of sabotage is done so discreetly that it takes time to fully see what's happening. If you want to protect yourself from people like this and strengthen your mindset, make sure to subscribe. I'm here to help you recognize these hidden patterns and handle them without draining your energy. But the problem does not stop there. Some envious people take things even further. They do not just sabotage you, they completely disappear when you need them the most. And that says a lot about how they truly feel about you. Let us talk about it now. Sign 7. They are around when you shine, but gone when you struggle. Have you ever noticed that some people only stick around when things are going well for you, but the moment you actually need support, they are nowhere to be found? When you have good news, they are there, listening and observing, but without much enthusiasm. But when you face a challenge and need a helping hand, they simply vanish. That is because envy is not just about presence, it is also about absence. The truth is that some people do not want to see you succeed, but they also do not want to be there when you are struggling. They do not genuinely care about you, they just like to keep an eye on your life from a distance. But the moment they realize they might actually have to help, they disappear. Have you ever reached out to someone who was always around, but when you finally needed real support, they suddenly had excuses? Things like, "I really wish I could help, but I'm super busy right now." "Wow, that's tough. Hope you figure it out. Let's talk later, okay? I don't have time right now." These responses are cold and distant and show that they do not want to be involved unless there is something in it for them. When you are thriving, they stay close, watching, comparing, and keeping tabs. But the moment you genuinely need help, they distance themselves. This kind of behavior is dangerous because it can leave you feeling isolated and unsupported. It might even make you wonder, am I expecting too much from people? Is it my fault? But the truth is, real friendships don't disappear when things get tough. People who truly care about you will stand by you no matter the situation. Now tell me, have you ever experienced this? Have you ever needed someone only to have them vanish or make excuses? Share your thoughts in the comments. So many people go through this without realizing what it really means. And if you thought this behavior was frustrating, the next sign will make you even more aware. Some envious people do not just disappear when you need them, they also give you compliments that deep down are actually hidden insults. Let us get into that now. Sign 8. Their compliments always have a hidden insult. Envy doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Some people hide their jealousy behind compliments that, deep down, carry a hint of disdain. At first, they may seem to acknowledge your efforts or accomplishments, but when you stop and think, something about their words feels off. These compliments often come with a touch of irony, an exaggerated tone of surprise, or a disguised criticism. Instead of genuinely recognizing your achievement, they make comments that leave you questioning your abilities. They might say things like, "Wow, I never thought you could pull that off. Congrats! Guess you just got lucky, huh?" It's good considering your level. Notice how these words are not really positive. They may sound like compliments, but there is an underlying message that is meant to make you doubt yourself. The goal is not to encourage you, it is to make you question your own skills. Another common tactic is exaggerated surprise. When you achieve something significant, they react dramatically, as if it's totally unexpected. They actually hired you for that position. "Wow, I never thought they'd choose someone like you. You did this by yourself. Are you sure you didn't get help?" These comments create a dangerous psychological effect. You might smile in the moment, but later you begin to question, am I really good at this? Was it just luck? And that's exactly the effect the envious person wants to create. This type of behavior is even more harmful because it's disguised as positivity. You feel like something's wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And if you try to call it out, they might say, "It was just a compliment," turning the situation around and making you seem like you're overreacting. But envy isn't always just about words. Some people take it further and try to devalue your accomplishments by claiming everything you've achieved is just luck. And that's what we're going to dive into next. Sign 9. They say your success is just luck, not hard work. Have you ever worked really hard for something, putting in hours, days, and months of effort, and then, when you finally achieve it, someone just dismisses it as luck? This happens all the time. Envious people can't admit that you worked hard to get where you are. Instead of acknowledging your effort, they prefer to believe it was just a coincidence, that it was easy for you, or that the conditions were in your favor. Maybe you studied tirelessly for a tough exam, but instead of recognizing your hard work, they say things like, "Wow, this exam must have been easier this year, right? Well, with all that time to study, it was obvious you'd pass." Or maybe you finally landed your dream job after years of dedication, but someone comments, "You must have had help, right? You probably knew someone there. You got lucky." If it had been the normal process, it would have been much harder. At first, these comments might seem harmless, but they carry a hidden poison. They make you question whether you really deserve what you've achieved. And that's exactly what the envious person wants. To make you doubt yourself, to second-guess your own victories, and feel less proud of your accomplishments. Now tell me, have you ever felt like someone devalued your effort and tried to say that everything you achieved was just luck? Share in the comments. Many people go through this without realizing the impact it can have on their self-confidence. But envy does not stop there. Some people do not just try to diminish your achievements, they start distancing themselves when they see you growing. And this behavior says a lot more than you might think. Let us dive into that now. Sign 10. They pull away when they see you getting ahead. Envy does not always show up with direct attacks or negative comments. Sometimes it appears quietly in the simple act of someone pulling away without any explanation. Some people just cannot handle seeing you grow, and instead of admitting it, they slowly fade out of your life. At first, it might seem like just a phase. You try to reach out, share your news, or invite them to hang out, but you notice that they always have an excuse, respond with less enthusiasm, or simply show no interest in your life anymore. Someone who was once always around now avoids interaction, seems indifferent, or even ignores you. This happens because, for some people, seeing someone close to them succeed is unbearable. They feel they can't keep up with your pace, and instead of improving their own lives, they prefer to distance themselves to avoid facing that internal comparison. Moreover, many of these people enjoyed the relationship when they felt on the same level as you. But now that they see you progressing, whether personally, professionally, or emotionally, they begin to feel inferior or out of place. Rather than celebrating your growth and being inspired by it, they choose to distance themselves to avoid confronting their own frustration. And this distancing isn't just physical. Some people remain in your life, but in a different way. They stop showing interest in what you do, no longer ask about your life, or simply act like nothing has changed. They do this because they don't want to acknowledge that you've moved forward, and on some level, that it bothers them. This behavior can be hard to spot at first, because it does not involve arguments or confrontations. But over time, it becomes clear that these people were not truly by your side out of admiration. They were there out of convenience. What is even more curious is that some of them do not just withdraw, they start to project negative energy onto your plans. They do not directly attack you, but they make subtle comments that plant doubts in your mind. And that is exactly what we will dive into in the next sign. Sign 11. They always find a reason to discourage you. Have you ever felt that whenever you share a plan or an idea with someone, they immediately start pointing out flaws and obstacles? You're excited, full of motivation, but after hearing their comments, you feel drained and your confidence starts to fade. This happens because some envious people don't want to see you progress, and the best way to stop you is by planting insecurity in your mind. They don't directly say that you won't succeed, but they make sure to highlight all the potential obstacles, exaggerate the risks, and emphasize everything that could go wrong. For example, if you decide to start a business, they might say, Wow, that industry is really competitive. Are you sure it's worth the risk? If you want to switch careers, they'll comment, do you really think you're cut out for that? I know people who tried and failed. If you share a personal goal, they respond with, that sounds really complicated. Maybe it's safer to think about something else. At first, it might seem like they are just being realistic, but when this happens repeatedly, you start to realize that they never encourage you, they only discourage you. And here is the kicker, if someone else shares the same idea, they often respond very differently, with more support and less pessimism. That is because deep down, they do not want to see you succeed. Now tell me, have you ever noticed someone projecting negative energy onto your projects? Have you felt like after talking to a certain person, your motivation just disappeared? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help others recognize this pattern and protect themselves, but it does not stop there. Some people do not just try to discourage you, they pretend to be happy for your achievements while secretly hiding discomfort they cannot mask. Let us talk about that now. Sign 12. They fake their happiness for you, but it never feels real. Not all envy is obvious. Some people won't openly criticize you, nor will they say they're bothered by your success, but they also can't completely hide how they truly feel. They try to act happy for you, but there's something strange about the way they react. The smile seems forced, the celebration feels exaggerated, or on the other hand, it's cold and emotionless. You get the sense that something's off, but you can't quite put your finger on it. This type of behavior can show up in different ways. Some people say things that sound positive, but underneath there's a hint of sarcasm, an insinuation, or a touch of disdain. Wow, that's amazing. I never thought you'd get this far. Congrats. Let's see if you can keep it up, huh? I'm glad it worked out for you. Hope it stays that way. Others might fake enthusiasm, but you can tell it's mechanical. They'll respond with a dry congrats, quickly change the subject, or even avoid eye contact. They try to hide their envy, but their tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language reveal what they really feel. Over time, you start to notice a pattern. Whenever something good happens to you, this person behaves oddly, avoids truly celebrating, or gives vague responses, and that might make you wonder, am I overreacting? Am I imagining things? But the truth is that your intuition is right. Your body speaks, gestures reveal the truth, and when someone is genuinely happy for you, you can feel the difference. People who truly celebrate your victories do not need to pretend. They do not force smiles or measure their words. And this is the most important thing to take away from all of this. Knowing how to identify these signs is crucial to protecting your energy, your accomplishments, and your peace. But what do you do with this information? How do you deal with these people without draining yourself? And most importantly, how do you keep your mind strong in the face of envy? Let's dive into that now. How to protect yourself from envy and stay mentally strong. Now that you know these 12 signs of envy, you've probably realized that it might be more present in your life than you thought. It hides in small actions, disguised words, and even the lack of support when you need it the most. But the most important thing is that now you know how to spot these signs before they harm you. The key here is not to try to change these people. Envy comes from the dissatisfaction they feel with their own lives, and that is beyond your control. What you can and should do is protect your energy and make sure these behaviors do not chip away at your confidence. If you've recognized any of these signs in someone, there's no need to confront them or start a fight. The secret is to set boundaries. Don't share your accomplishments with people who don't want to see you grow. Don't ask advice from those who only know how to criticize. Don't expect support from people who always find a way to discourage you. Choose to be around those who genuinely celebrate your victories. Now tell me in the comments, what signs have you noticed in someone around you? How did you deal with it? Your experience might help others better understand this situation. And if this video helped you in any way, don't forget to leave a like. Not only does it motivate me to keep creating content like this, but it also helps spread this message to more people who need to hear it. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. And before you go, there's another video waiting for you on the screen with a topic that could change the way you see certain situations. Click now and continue learning and strengthening your self-awareness. See you in the next video.